I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Technically, they wouldn't see the internal compartments of that one seat. It's plausible someone could hide in there. Especially when one considers that our defendant is very short. He boards, falls asleep, someone else boards, stuffs him inside the compartment underneath the seat. The victim boards, gets stabbed, and I'm not sure where we go from there, but it seems right. They might not have been able to see everything. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You're riding this omnibus. And witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. And at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You identify the area on this cross-section plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting the potential extra passenger could have been situated? Right. Right there, in the seat. Boom! Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel. Whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylights, is as I've drawn here. Okay, that's not the logic I was using, but I'm glad there's logic. Ah. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Ah! Objection. It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. A name? Can you, Mr. Naruto? I don't know anyone. I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Magnus McGilded. No, that's not what we're looking for. And obviously not these two. Obviously not the victim. Probably not the prosecutor. Probably not my defendants. It would be just strange to, out of blue, say that the Chief Justice would be it just because he's the only other person I met. And Susato-san wasn't here at the time. If we go back to evidence, this is just like a guy. Yeah. I really don't think we have anything to point out. And this is just this. Yeah. Bruce Fairplay. What if this is a W? An ornate letter M. Undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initials. It's beautifully gilded, too. It must be very valuable, I should think. Ah! What is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yes, this is one of those, turnabout cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know it all. But what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh, well. That idea was quickly quashed. Any identifying markers on this aside from the M? Can't find anything out of place. That part is the sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? Oh, sorry, yes. I just don't really like blades. Oh. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Okay, I mean, it's bloody. About as anticipated, I guess. That looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood, the victim's. An Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. Finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Yeah, I don't know. Don't seem to be really getting much out of this. Saying I have no idea seems like the wrong answer here is the thing. But I have no idea. I mean, it could have been anyone. And I don't think the evidence really points to anyone in particular. Are you going to examine the omnibus again? That's... I don't know. Is it plausible someone left something there? Like if someone left like a trinket or something that could identify them? A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Yep. Okay, whatever. I don't think that helped us. like, are any of these things in particular? This looks like all sorts of equipment, yeah. It's just the same, no matter where I click here, it's the same. Anything else? I don't see anything. Look, I'll be honest, I have no idea. I have literally no idea. But as a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, you will look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. Go on. This isn't just a case of going on, Mr. Sato. Alright then, I'll go on. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast. The hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, Counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting to turn this trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... And it's obviously not one of these three. It's obviously not the victim. I have no legitimate reason to accuse the prosecutor or Susato or the chief. I think here's my play. We say Magnus McGilded was in the other seat. Yes, that doesn't give us a fifth person in the carriage, necessarily a specific person. But what it does do is it fixes a couple discrepancies, right? So it gives us an the potential for an ungloved person next to the person killing the person, right? Because if both of our witnesses are being honest that they saw someone with both their hands covered in blood without gloves on their hands, then Magnus would have to have been on the other side, which means the person they saw wasn't Magnus. I hope I've got the right train of logic here. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witness is on the roof failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendants. Objection! If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks! People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. Hey, racist much? What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built. But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim. Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailants. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night. A third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. Both of them. And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprits. Extraordinary. Order, order, order! What exactly are you postulating? The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused. But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Unless, that is, you're proposing an even more preposterous explanation. But the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. He's right. There's another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it, unless he was sleeping. He said he sleeps. Order! There's clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure to have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? I think we probably should. And he told us that he was sleeping. I demand his testimony. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. Now, granted, I am aware that it's generally poor legal advice to have your defendant actually testified in court most of the time, but... yeah, I might have botched this. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say! It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Now maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? Alright, I've got to do his accent now. Too sure I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third person with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police? Begad, no. 'Tis not my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. Truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell you all, or keep me mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGilded. The fine fellow representing me is about absolutely right. In the carriage on the night, with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. Is it? It's true? Aye. And 'twas me who helped the urchin get away after it all happened. You... What?! No, Magnus McGilded, that convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zix. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken by the police. I do have a very good reason, I assure you. Which was? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the woman was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her out into this courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare that. Her. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. And who was this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since. We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the courts. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. If the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listen to the proceedings. What? What? Someone gets shot? What? Fire, there's a fire. Look, someone is trying to get... What? What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruto. Cover your face. Bailiff! Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. What the heck just happened? We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber, we had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. Oh my, oh my, oh my.